So, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Loose Lips with Liku. So, my guest tonight is quite a special man, actually. So, he's probably one of the only few people outside of my family unit that believed in me a little bit in terms of it comes to rugby. The man that gave me the opportunity to go and play for Leeds Centurions and gave me that kind of confidence I needed to go and be successful in the rugby game, no matter how small it was. Obviously, known him for years and years, and I'm glad he's on the podcast tonight. So, Mr. Paul Anderson, how you doing, Ando?
I'm all right, Elliot. Thanks for that. Appreciate the introduction. Good to be on with you. Always nice to see you.
Honestly, like I say, we'll get on to obviously how we kind of went on with Lee later on in the podcast. But first of all, like, how have you been? I know there's been a little bit of news. Obviously, you've left Swinton, being an assistant coach there. Obviously, you do some great work over at St Mary's High School. Just how's life for Ando at the minute?
Yeah, all good at the minute. It's been a bit of a change. I've been at Swinton for 2.5 years. Made a decision a couple of weeks ago to step away from there. Still want to be involved in the game, but things weren't just right at the minute. Not with the results. It was nothing to do with results, and it was just a few things I didn't agree with. So I think it was time to move on.
No, and that's it. I think there's always it comes to an end, as it were, in terms of stuff we do in our life. So, like I said, it's fair play to you, and obviously I know it's just been announced this afternoon that your old mate Moses coming and helping out Swinton as well. So that's obviously nice to see as well. And I know you've obviously got your thoughts, your feelings around that, but obviously you can tell, obviously you enjoyed your time there, that you had 2.5 years.
Yeah, they're a fantastic club. There's some really good people at board level. They've not got a lot of money, but they put in what they've got and they try and do the best for the players. So they're a club that will probably always be there and they'll always keep ticking over. It was a great place to work. Never say never. You may go back one day, but who knows?
No, brilliant. Love that. So another thing that we are obviously linked, Ando, is we both went to the same high school. You went to the mighty Bedford High. I always say where legends are made. What can you remember about your time at high school, Ando?
Oh, plenty I can remember though. It's fantastic school, Bedford. I really enjoyed my time there. You see a lot of people who, I don't like school, I don't like this, but when you leave, you always have them special memories of school. And I think what was different at Bedford then is there was a lot of rugby, and there's not a lot of rugby nowadays at the high schools.
No.
And then it was just every week you were playing rugby. English schools, Northwest counties. It was brilliant. I remember we played one game, semi-final at Bedford in the 5th year. I think we had about 600 people watching us. Everyone came out from school. Felt like a rock star for a week.
Oh, love that. That would have been on the front field in front of the main building as you drive down Manchester Road?
No, it was on the backfields at those games. We used to play on the back there. We used to play hockey on the front field, GCSE PE. Always remember my hockey days.
Yeah, I always told them.
Most violent sport I've ever played, that.
Suits you down to the ground, that Andor. For those of you that those of you don't know Andor, he had the nickname Angry Andor because he was just always angry, but he isn't always angry, just to put it out there.
Oh, them days are over now, Elliot. I'm a changed man now.
Nice and chilled out.
Yeah, nice and chill now.
Love that. Love that. Like, so obviously we're in the profession that we want our students to have that kind of openness with us as staff, being able to come to us at any point. Was there anybody like that for you at Bedford in terms of that you could guarantee if you were feeling a little bit, there's a bit of trouble, or if you just felt a little bit out of sorts, you could go and see them?
Yeah, I think a lot of people who was at school with me at the time, it was always Mr. Howarth, PE teacher. I think he, when he was at Lee C as well, I think he taught my missus, brother-in-law at Lee C. Honestly, he was the best bloke you've ever met. Tough as anything. grab you by the sides, pull you around. Obviously, you can't do that nowadays, Elliot, can you? As you well know.
Correct.
But, you know, he was a fantastic bloke. Took all the rugby teams. And I remember one day, I think once in my whole school life, I wagged it one afternoon. We went on the bridge. Next minute, fire alarm goes off. I thought, this can only happen to me, this. Fire alarm goes off. Come running back in school. They're all in line up. Mr. Howarth grabs hold of me by the side. He says, you're not playing rugby next week. I said, oh, sir, come on. Next minute, he says, what were you doing? I said, well, we were throwing boats, like doing boat races down the canal. He's like, right, well, you can play. Don't ever do that again. And I never did it again. He was like, you know, where now you're like phone calls home and meetings, but he was just like proper old school, really good bloke he was. Remember going to his funeral as well. There must have been about 30 or 40 of the old school lads there at the funeral. So shows you what sort of bloke he was and how thought of he was.
No, I remember, and I've said it on pod before. I remember when I first joined in year 7, he was in his last year as teaching, and he'd go through the whole register, and he'd as Mr. Thompson was reading your name out, he'd be like looking at you, he'd look at you, come back, look at you, come back. And I remember he looked round to me at the corner, and you heard obviously Elliot Lickou. He's looked at me and he's gone, Paul Lickou's lad? I goes, yeah, that's my dad. He goes, you'll do for me, lad. You'll be on my rugby team, and then walked off.
Yeah, proper good bloke he was. One of the best.
No, 100%. And I think you could speak to anybody from that kind of era, probably from my year 7 right the way back to obviously even probably before yourself, Ando, that he was one of those top blokes. And I'd probably caveat that with saying from my era, and probably I know Ellis is obviously your son was at Bedford, and maybe even Riven as well, your daughter. Rob Drennan is probably that kind of the mould of Ian Howarth, that old school, but so approachable with the new stuff and the new style as well.
Yeah, well, Rob was in our year at school, so obviously he was brought up with Mr. Howarth. So he's a bit of a clone to him. Not as good looking as Mr. Howarth was, Rob. But, he is a good fella.
No, 100%. And like I say, I know that everyone who's a Bedford student speaks highly of them, no matter what age they were. What were your favourite subjects then, Andor? Was obviously, I know you're going to say PE, which is fair enough, but is there any left field subjects that are a bit like, oh, didn't expect that?
No, not really. I think it was just PE and going in school for rugby, football, cricket, as you did back in them days. I remember I took, when we did our options, me and a couple of lads took, believe it or not, expressive arts we took, which was drama, dance, all that mixed in together. So
unbelievable.
That didn't go too well, that. But
I was going to say, I can't see you as the Shakespearean actor, Paul, just to be or not to be.
I think we only picked it really because there was like 3 lads in and the rest were all girls. So I think we picked it for that back in the day, you know.
Brilliant. Come on, man. Oh, so you get to the end of year 11, you get to kind of outside of a high school. I know we're obviously going to touch on rugby in a bit, but what did you do after high school? What kind of avenue did you take?
Well, I went to college. I think I started doing like a sports science course, and then didn't really like it. That was at Lee College. Went to Wigan College, then did a little bit of a course there again. I think it was like an electrical engineering, wasn't for me. So I actually ended up doing some work for a steel company in Lee, giving me my first job. So I did some work there. We're making steel shelving, stuff like that. I think I did that for about 12 months, and then ended up going full time. So it was a good ground in it. It just teaches you how to work hard, and you know you get a job behind. I'm not saying it's not the way to go with uni and college nowadays. It was different back then, but for me personally, I think I worked that great academically, and just getting in there, getting your hands dirty, working with people who've been in that environment. It just teaches you that hard work and grit and resilience.
No, that's what we obviously try and instill now within our students, within anyone who comes across our path. I know that I know you'll obviously do it. You're pastoral lead, is it? Am I right in saying?
I'm head of year 9 at St Mary's.
Perfect. So that's obviously you're going into that on a daily basis in terms of that's where resilience really comes into play when they're moving into Key Stage 4. So it'd be obviously it's really nice for you to touch on that kind of resilience that you've had to build through that. Then going into kind of full-time rugby at St Helens, like, was that always the dream leaving school?
I don't know. I'm not sure really. It was a difficult one, that, because I've said this before a few times that, like, players were getting picked up earlier those days at 12, 13, signing contracts for like 15, 20 grand cash contracts. I was never signed when I was young, when I was that age. So I've told a story before about, working your way through and you're seeing all your mates getting signed, and you've got to make a decision. Are you good enough? Do you think you're good enough? Does anyone else think you're good enough? And again, it's about that resilience, and you either get your head down and crack on and work hard, or you can just go the other way and say, this is not for me. But
No.
I just kept working hard and doing what I could. I weren't the best player. I was like 12, 13, but I got better through working hard, practicing skills, stuff like that, and ended up getting signed at 16. So, as I say, it does pay off if you work hard and you're resilient.
Yeah, it pays off in all walks of life. No matter, I always say to anyone who ever speaks to me that you'll get your reward no matter what you do, no matter what you want to go into. If you work hard for it, you'll get your reward at the end of it. So Saints obviously come in, sign you. How's that feeling? Because signing for such a massive club in terms of Saints must have been huge.
Yeah, it was daunting, to be honest, because, like, again, you're still questioning yourself, and am I good enough to be playing here? There's always people who knock you and say, oh, he shouldn't be there, he shouldn't be playing for them, why have they signed him? Well, again, the outside noise, you just got to switch off and back your ability. And again, it was just about being the best you can be. So I think I signed at 16, ended up playing academy, as it were, at the time. And then I was captain of that at 16, 17. Played a few games in the Old Alliance, and then ended up getting a shot in the first team.
How was that in the first team? Like, your first game, again, still a young kid. Like, that must have been, again, very daunting to have superstars all around you, superstars running at you. Like, does that resilience, that come back into play, but almost in a different way?
Yeah, it's just about believing in yourself and doing the best you can. And if your best's good enough, it's good enough. If it's not, you just got to keep working hard again and trying to prove people wrong. I think my debut was against Wigan on Boxing Day at the Old Central Park. 30,000 on, you had likes of Inga Twigger-Marler, players like that playing, Andy Farrell, all them sort of players. It was like, well, better give it a go or I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's almost, there's so many kind of anecdotes and bits of advice that you learn as a rugby player that you can obviously put into your job now. Like, what happened then from, obviously, you play a few games for Saints. Talk to me about the journey after that in terms of, so I know your journey kind of changed course almost.
Yeah, so I played at Saints for a couple of years. I played about 50 Super League games. Went to Sheffield, signed a 3-year deal, Sheffield full time. That didn't work out as it should have done, which was my own fault. I didn't put enough effort into that. Probably one of the times where I've not put enough effort into it with the travelling and stuff like that. But on the back of that, I ended up at Leigh, playing at Leigh. I think that best time of my life playing at Leigh was unbelievable. Like, playing with all your mates and brilliant. Best time of my life. That. And I think if you speak to anyone who played at Leigh at that time, they'll tell you the exact same thing.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous squad at the time for Championship, because obviously I know my old man was I'm going to try and get this right. I'm going to assume he was at Barrow at the time.
Yeah, he was at Barrow. He'd been at Leigh, and then I think he went to Barrow.
Yeah, so he'd had a little stopgap at Workington and then ended up going to Barrow, and he kind of loves it up there. And I played in the Challenge Cup last year, and they still remember him up there as like this living legend.
Barrow legend, big time. Barrow legend, he was.
Barrow legend, Workington legend, Leigh legend. No matter where you go, everywhere. But obviously that squad was almost like a Leigh squad that it's kind of what Leigh have done in terms they have them kind of amazing teams, and obviously you were a part of it. Like I know the 2001 season was a cracking season, 2002, 3, and then you were in the 2004 squad, am I right?
No, I think I left at the end of 2002. I think it was.
Right.
I left at the end of 2002. Ended up going to Oldham for a season.
Up the Roughheads.
Yeah, then I went to Rochdale. I spent quite a bit of time at Rochdale, to be fair.
Yeah.
Rochdale. I did about 4 or 5 games at Doncaster. Then Blackpool went back to Rochdale again after Blackpool, then went back to Blackpool again. Finished playing at Blackpool. I think it was 2010, finished playing.
So it's a first stint of a career, that handle, to be fair.
Yeah. That's why I keep forgetting things now, Elliot.
Forget them phone calls at work.
Too many knocks.
So obviously then you've had the playing career, you've had the kind of high school. We're now going to go into the coaching side of things, which I'm obviously going to come in a little bit more on that when we get to probably my time of us meeting up. But after 2010, is the transition going straight into coaching, or is there kind of a stopgap there to kind of work out?
Yeah, I'd already done a little bit of coaching whilst I was playing at Blackpool. Just did a little bit here and there. I think that's where I first thought, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of coaching here. Then I did a bit at Rochdale with Darren Shaw when I finished playing. I was assistant to Darren Shaw, who was at Leigh. The Aussie, another good bloke. Yes. And then I think that's when you really get the bug for it. Then when you start playing and you think, yeah, this is something I want to get into and give something back a little bit.
Yeah, massively. And we're going to come on to the kind of Leigh element of it in a moment. But like, I want to just touch on, obviously, you as a coach. I want to try and, in your words, define kind of who Ando is as a coach. Like, because I can give my opinion on you as a coach and many other players that you've coached beforehand. But what's Ando as a coach? What's his coaching style? What's his coaching philosophy almost?
Well, do you know, when I first started, you come into it, you've not done much coaching before, and like you think you know it all, but you don't know anything. Like from now to like back in 2012, whenever it was, when we was at Leigh, I first started with you, like so much better of a coach and as a person, really. And I think you've got to learn on the job, and it takes time, and you've got to do little bits here and there. You've got to work hard to get there again. I go back to that working hard again. Some people get a job, like they've not done anything apart from playing. They'll get that job and they think they know everything, and they don't know everything. And you've got to work really hard. It's about working hard, rolling your sleeves up, getting in the field, you know, and working with the players and trying to make them players better. And I think now, I've always had a good relationship with players. Might be a couple who say, well, I don't like him, which there always is. You'll always get that. But it's about the players for me and keeping players happy, because when players are happy, that's when they're at the best, and that's when they perform for you. If they're not happy, they just won't perform.
No, I can testify for that. I'll be totally honest with you. I remember, like, we're now obviously going to go into that period now, especially the kind of 3-year period that we were kind of player and coach. Like 2013, I remember middle of 2013, summertime, I got a random message out of nowhere, and it was from yourself saying, listen, I know you've been on our books as under 16s, but I want you to come back and I want you to go have a trial run. So I obviously was like, I spoke to my dad about this. You know, obviously what it was like with me and my dad growing up, and he just said, you know what, go for it. So I turned up on that first day, and one thing you said there that I know, and that's resonated with me, and that's why I said in my introduction, there was never a point where in that period I was ever unhappy. You always made sure that I was perfect just as a person. If I was happy as a person, you knew you'd get the best out of me on the field.
Yeah, and that's something, again, like I've said it before, and you'll know yourself, you're not happy playing rugby, you might as well not play the game, because the game's tough. It's a really tough game, and you've got to be happy in everything you do, and you know, you've got to be wanting to train, wanting to get in that gym, wanting to do extras, and you need people believing in you. And if you feel your coach don't believe in you, that's you done. Like, you can't get that confidence back with that coach. So I think then it's time to move on and try something different, go somewhere else.
No, definitely. And I think we kind of, something always resonates with me. And this is kudos to you as a coach to me. And it was in my first year, actually. We'd got about, I think it was 8 games in, and I was doing everything. I was doing X, Y, and Z. I was at Bedford doing voluntary work. I was training 3, 4, 5 times a week because I wanted to obviously be at my best to be in that squad. Because it was, let's be honest, that squad was, in my eyes, one of the best squads I've ever been in, by the way. Like I wanted to be kind of in that 17. I wanted to be there. And I remember you was watching me train, and I was having an absolute stinker of a training session. And I remember you pulled me to one side and you went, "What's up with you?" Not like in a rude way, but kind of just like, "Elliot, what's up with you? Because this isn't you." I just said, "I'll be honest, Ando, I'm absolutely knackered. I'm rushed off my feet." You went, "Right, go on." I went, you basically put me on a kind of a 2-week rest just to go home, rest up, come on a Thursday, do a team run. That's it. I don't want to see you. Because you could see, and that's that kind of relationship, that rapport that you'd built up with not just myself, but across the squad as well.
Mm. Like I said now, like one of the best things for me from that team is I'll still get messages off the lads from that team. If I still see them about, I'll have a beer with them, we'll have a good chat, you know, and that's what it's about. It's about building relationships, and even though it's whatever it is, 14 years ago, still have them connections and relationships with those players. And that's something that I've always tried to take through, really. And it's just about being a good bloke and a good person, really. And if you're teaching people along the way, then even better.
No, definitely. And like I said in the start, in the intro, you gave me that confidence to go on. And I'll be honest, I was shocked that you gave me the captaincy in 2015 of that reserve team and giving me my kind of unofficial debut against North Wales, against Oldham, kind of that belief that just always just soaked through to me. And I still speak to Corey Lee now, and we always, every time me and Corey get together, there's one thing, no matter whether we're stone cold sober or we've had a few, we always said that team that we had, 2014-15, was arguably one of the best we've played in, because we just worked hard for each other. Everybody put the kind of body on the line, and it just kind of, like you said, you built not only those relationships between us, but between yourself, Finney, Steve Mayo, Steve Maiden, like 4 blokes there that I wouldn't be able to speak about rugby if it weren't for you 4.
And that's it. We built a lot of connections up there, and when you're trying to build a team, especially a young team, again, it's about those relationships and about giving them belief in themselves. Because if you don't believe in them, who else is going to believe in them? Like, it's hard enough. Like I said before, the game's hard enough, and you've got to have coaches who believe in you, and they'll push you. They will push you, but again, they're pushing you in the right way, and they're being honest with you, and they're telling you what you need to work on. It's not about like, "Oh, you're not playing. Why?" Well, because you're not. It's you're not playing because of this, and this is what you need to work on, and we'll work on it together, and we'll get better together.
Yeah, massively, and that's kind of obviously transferable into our job now. When I've spoke to, obviously, a couple of my students have asked me that since you're having your old coach on, I need to ask you this question. Now, this isn't from me, this is from the kids. They want you to give a brutally honest opinion about me as a player and how I was. Now, I'm a big boy now, Ando. You can rip me to shreds nowadays. I'm a big lad. I'm nearly 30. I can handle it. But they want me to ask you a brutally honest opinion about me.
Yeah, well, obviously, when I signed you, where was you playing when I signed you?
I was playing at Lee Rugby Union at the time. I wasn't actually I'd left rugby league because I did, again, after I left at 16, I didn't believe in myself to make a step up to 18s. And then if it was
I think
thanks to
at the
you.
time, then you'd always had that skill. You could play. You had a good offload. You could play before the line. And with that team, I wanted someone in the middle who could ball play. And because, like with us, we wanted to shift the ball. We played, didn't we? We threw the ball around.
Yeah.
And that's when we really enjoyed it. So, again, you had good ball skills. You were tough. Again, worked really hard. Resilient. Something I'll bring up again. You were really resilient. Like, you'd had tough times. You came back and you thought, yeah, I'll give it another crack. And you was a leader as well. So that's why I made you captain, because you was a leader of that group, and you was well respected within the group.
There we go. I thought I'd have been rinsed then, but actually, do you know what? And that's all thanks to you.
That.
And
50 quid is give me for that.
50 quid. I wish I had that to give these days. 50 quid. No, but honestly, and I think I always say this, that it was thanks to you and obviously the coaching staff you had to give me that belief, because as we said on the pod before, my old man, no matter where he is, my dad, and I love him to bits, but he's always that stature of a man in terms of if he's in Leigh, everyone knows who he is. Yeah, he's alongside your mate Adam Bristow as one of the few kind of exports to Leigh that have played over 100 games. I learned that whilst I was at the club. Like, he's a stature of a man in terms of the club. So for me, having to follow in them footsteps, it was tough. But you gave me the belief to, you know what? Yeah, you can actually do this. Just go and do it.
Well, again, someone can give you that belief, but it's about you following up on it. So it's all right, you saying, I give you belief, but you've got to have talent with that belief as well. And if you didn't have the talent, you wouldn't have been there. So it's like credit to anyone and yourself. And you give people belief, but they've got to act on it then. You're not putting them in the team for nothing. So again, it's credit to people, like people around you and yourself and other lads who you give belief to, that they've worked hard, and it's all down to them, really.
No, and I think we could sit here all night and talk about that squad and the games we had, some of the poor times we had, and some of the good times we had. But like, I could be here forever and ever, because it's so good to reminisce. But after that, kind of, obviously I'd left and gone elsewhere, but then obviously your journey carried on at Leigh, and then kind of what happened after that, because it kind of, everything was up in the air. Obviously, when I spoke to Riddy and to Greg about it, everything was just up in the air with Leigh at kind of them late 2010s. So where did your journey go from there?
So I left Leigh. I did a couple of spells as assistant, obviously with Rolls, which really good times. Learned a lot from Rolls. Dukesy took over. I was assistant there. Then Kieran took over. Pertil, assistant to Kieran. I think I left in 2019? I think I left in 2019 when John Duffy was there. So I left there, and then I thought, I need a bit of a break here, because I've been in it quite a while. Then ended up going coaching again at Leigh Miners, at junior section, obviously with Tom Farrimond, and had some great players down there like Jack Farrimond, Pat Irwin, Jack Pertil, Cale, and Joe Tyra, Ellis were there. You know, there must have been 13 players that signed, and like they were great to work with. And again, it was just something different from obviously being in a bit of a high pressure situation at Leigh, like getting into Super League, out of Super League. Then there was all the money, whereas they came back, and then it was just good to go back and like really enjoy it again, and again learn again what rugby's really about. So and then ended up just getting a call out of nowhere off Alan Kilshaw at Swinton, asking if I'd be interested in going down there, doing a bit of stuff, like doing defensive coach. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a crack, and obviously with her ever since there, really, and until recently. So yeah.
No, and that's kind of, like you say, you've spoke about previously, the transition from how you were in, like I said, 2010, 2012, whenever you really got your teeth into it, to how you are now as a coach. Like, if you could name one thing that's changed, what would it be? That the one major change?
I know it's difficult. It's a difficult question. That I think there's a lot of things that change. It's probably once you start realizing that you don't know everything and you're learning all the time. You're always learning as a coach. The game changes like every year, really, and you've got to keep up with that and keep learning. And again, I'll say it again, it's about relationships, maybe early on and midway through that, you have a few fallouts and you've got to learn from it. And that only comes from experience.
No, and like you said, that's through anything that you do, no matter what. And now I'm going to kind of really kind of turn and go in a different direction now. We're going to talk about education. So where did this journey start in terms of going into education and being a part of kind of a school environment? I don't know what your journey was.
Well, I'd never even dreamt of like working in a school. Never thought I'd ever do it. And I ended up, I think it was 2018, I think it was, or 2019. And we went from full-time to part-time. So I thought I need a job. But I needed a job where I could do 4 days and still do a day like rugby, where you could do your video editing and stuff like that. So a job came up at St Mary's, just cover teaching. So I thought, yeah, I'll dip my toe in and see how we go. So I did that and then ended up doing a year cover teaching, then ended up being like a behaviour manager and then ended up getting the head of year role from that. So just moved from there, really. So I think I've been there probably 5.5 years now. This will be my 6th year and I've gone from cover like to being head of year, and I thought, oh, how's that happened? And
so you took the same journey that I did into teaching.
Yeah.
So what I did over at Goldman, just cover teacher, then kind of was like, instead of going the pastoral route, kind of dipped my toe in teaching. So it's weird how you kind of get into it. Like, obviously, I know you're going to answer this, but is every day the same or is it different?
No, you never know what's happening there when you walk through the door. Every day is different. That's the beauty of the job. It's never boring. Your time goes that quick. Before you know it, it's time to go home. It's like it just keeps you on your toes every day. There's never a boring day, is there, in education, as they say?
No, there's every day is a learning day as well. Literally, every day is a learning day. What's your favourite thing though about the job? Is it like you've just said then, is it every day is different, or is it something particular that you think, do you know what, this is what gets me out of bed to go to work?
Well, I think it's similar to like with the rugby. It's that building relationships again. And, you can't always please everyone. There'll probably be maybe 50 people in school who think I'm a clown who don't like you. Do you know what I mean? You'll always get that out of 1,600 and maybe more. Who knows? But again, I have got some good relationships with the students in my year group and other year groups, and students that have left as well. So again, you must be doing something right. You get a lot of things wrong, but again, probably get more things right. And again, it's like when you're out and about and there's students that left from 3 or 4 years ago and they come over and they say to you, "Oh, sorry about that, sir." They say, "I know you're a decent bloke." So that's probably one of the best things in it. And
yeah,
they've evolved as well and they've grown and there's a reason you do things and it's to make them better people.
No, and I always love that as well. That I think you touched on a little bit there. Do you know when you have students that leave and they come back to you and they see you in the street and they go, "You're right, sir, how are you doing?" It's that sir element of they've never lost that respect for you. They've never lost that kind of, do you know what? Yeah, he might have been on my back a few times, but do you know what? I respect the bloke and I really like him and I'll still call him sir, even though they know your first name.
Yeah. I think, like we just touched on there, it's about making them better people when they leave school. And like I said to a lot of them, obviously I'm not a teaching side of it, so mine's all pastoral side. So for me, it's about teaching them what's right from wrong, having respect for people and that'll help them in future. It might not be the grades that get them where they want to be. It's how they are as a person.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like that as well. Even though I'm a teacher and I teach core subject in maths, but one of my big caveats is I want students, and I say this to my students all the time, I want you to be better people, not just better at maths or to get a maths grade to go and do what you want to do. I want you to be better people, because when it's all said and done, if you take away something from me, from my teachings, just from our interactions that makes you a better person later on, then I know I've done my job.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that.
And like I said, we're now at the point where obviously education is where it is and all the rest of it. Is there any desire for you to push on, or are you just, do you know what? I'm good at my job. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Do you know what? I like this side of the job. I'm just going to stick at it.
I think it's not something I've really thought about. It's just keep going and trying to just keep improving people. And you know, if something comes up, then it's something that you'd look at. But you know, I'm not actively looking to step up or anything at the minute.
Do you know what? And that again, it's everyone's prerogative, isn't it? It is what it like. It is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right then, we are coming towards the end now, Ando. So I'm only going to grill you a little bit more now. So 10 quick fire questions from you. 10 things I'm going to ask you. I just want your first response. I don't want you to think about it. If you have to think about it, obviously you do, but there's some you might need to. But just 10 quick fire questions. Bit of a laugh.
Go on, hit me.
Right. Well, question 1: sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Go-to savoury.
Crisp.
Oh, nice. Like it.
Doritos.
Oh, Doritos. Which ones?
Yeah. Chili Doritos, yeah.
Oh. Number 2, best stadium you've played in?
Hilton Park.
Classic. Old school.
Yeah.
Number 3, go-to karaoke song?
Oh, karaoke. My favourite, Elliot, you know that. Wagon Wheel at the minute. It's one of my favourites.
Wagon Wheel. Oh, yes. Oh, they've been played in pubs in Lee before.
Oh, not too bad.
Number 4, one meal for the rest of your life?
Probably Chinese.
Oh, nice. Mixture or certain dish?
Well, I like crispy shredded chicken with extra sauce. That's my favourite.
Nice. Oh, yes. Number 5, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Yeah. Literally, anyone who says cats, go down in my estimation.
Yeah, when I was younger, though, I had 3 cats, 3 dogs, and a parrot. I've just got the one dog now.
A parrot?
Well, it weren't a parrot. I don't know what it was. It was like a green thing.
A green.
It flew into a wall. We let it out one day. It flew into a wall and unfortunately passed.
Oh dear me!
Another one.
Love it. Number 6, hero.
Probably my granddad.
Oh, nice. Just the man.
Yeah, just the bloke he was really. He never involved in sport or anything like that, but like he had. If you remember the old chippy on Lee Road, the House chippy, he used to run that.
Yes.
He worked really hard, and again, he just taught me how to work hard, and he was a good man.
Oh, I love it. Number 7, I'm going to kind of give you a two-way question with this. Best player you've played with, and the best player you've played against.
Probably best player I've played with would be Adam Bristow from Lee. I know you mentioned Adam before. He was unbelievable, great player. Fantastic player, good leader. He's still a good friend of mine now, Adam.
Go on, best player you've played against.
Best player played against would probably be somebody from that Brisbane team. Somebody like Gordon Tallis, Darren Lockyer, like that. They were coming through then. Lockyer was young, but they were unbelievable players.
You couldn't have picked any two bigger superstars.
Obviously, I played against them once, but never played against them again. But just once, but it was enough to see how good they were.
Yeah, definitely. Number 8, back in time or back in the going into the future?
Future. No point looking back, is there?
Correct.
Can't change the past, Elliot, can we?
We've just got to keep moving.
Correct.
Number 9, one piece of advice you live by.
I'm not sure about that one, to be fair. I don't know. Probably treat people how you want to be treated. Probably.
That's a nice one. I like that. Love that one, actually. And then number 10, I can grant you one wish. What would it be?
One wish. Be a billionaire.
Be a billionaire.
It won't be too bad. Just for a week.
Man, just for a week.
If I could say how much I could spend.
Might be a penny behind you these days, lad.
Not so bad. Minted, do you know? Minted. All these
And,
podcasts you're doing now.
Oh, don't start. Podcast, social media. Had me 15 minutes of fame at BBC. That's it now.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Your big win there.
Oh, don't. Everyone's asking me for a tenner. What?
Yeah.
It's with Postman, I say. Postman's got it. Richest man in the world, my Postman.
I bet you enjoyed that. Good times, that.
No, it was good. And like I say, I think it's been nice, this podcast, to obviously reminisce and have a chat. And obviously you know my feelings obviously about you, Sam, Ellis, Riven. You obviously you looked after me massively when I was under you as a player. So you know my feelings towards you, mate, and I love you all to death. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a guest on my podcast.
No problem. Enjoyed it. Cheers, Elliot. Take care.
Take care, mate. And then for everyone, thank you for coming on. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, whoever you want to see next. But other than that, thank you very much, and I shall see you all very soon. I'm going to do it.